Welcome to Playful Podcast, your guide into the underground scene where we discover topics on kink and electronic music every week. Don't forget to subscribe to not miss out on our next episode.
We are so excited to be here today with the porn film director, screenwriter, producer and entrepreneur, Erika Lust. It's been almost 20 years of her creating the porn empire she runs today, and in this conversation we speak about how she got into porn and what she had to face along the journey, what she loves about porn and what makes a good porn film, as well as her view on the future of porn, incorporating AI and so much more. I am Amanda and this is Playful Podcast. Erika, we are so happy to have you in Playful Podcast.
Thank you very much.
Welcome.
It's a great pleasure being here.
Amazing. And I saw your film yesterday, the showing in Berlin. It was amazing. And we also got to chat a bit then. It was very nice. If you would describe yourself using 3 words.
Myself?
Yeah. Okay. What would they be?
Oh, that would depend on the day, I guess. Because as everyone, it kind of comes and goes a bit how I feel about myself. I have lovely, wonderful days and I have worse days. But today I feel pretty good. I would say that I'm a quite happy person in general. I'm quite passionate, intense, and sometimes a bit of a workaholic.
But you said intense. This is also something some people say I am intense, but I don't understand it myself. I'm like, I'm not intense, I'm super chilled. What do you mean? But do you feel that you yourself feel that you're intense? Or did people tell you? Oh, you feel that you're intense?
I feel that I have very high energy.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
And the workaholic.
And I can see it when I'm in front of the camera because my eyes are very intense. I see, when people taking pictures of me, etc., that I need to kind of relax. I need to chill. I need to get down. But I love being in charge. I love having kind of the control of the situation and being prepared.
Yeah. Were you always like this?
Yeah.
Yeah? So you were a high achiever as a kid, I guess, then also?
Yes.
Yeah?
Yes.
Are you this person who's competing with yourself?
Yes.
Yeah.
And sometimes with others.
Yeah. No, because,
yeah.
If you compete with yourself and always win, it's no fun anymore. I'm kidding. But yeah, all right, I see. But who were you?
But my little sister is also a ballet dancer. She was a ballet dancer when she was younger. And I think that we were always kind of, going for results.
Yeah. Because of the upbringing?
Mm-hmm. Probably a bit.
Who were you as a teenager?
Who was I as a teenager? I was... I think I was a pretty good girl. I liked studying a lot. But I was also always a person fantasizing quite a lot, living quite a lot in my head, writing, creating, imagining the future.
Oh, okay. And what did you imagine for the future then?
All kind of things. I wanted so many different things. Sometimes people ask me, what did you want to do? And I go, I wanted to be, at some point in my life, I wanted to be an actress. I wanted to be a writer. I wanted to be a journalist. I wanted to be a lawyer. I wanted to be a doctor. I wanted to be an archaeologist. I wanted,
all interesting jobs, for sure.
A marine biologist. I jumped on different challenges and things all the time. And I wanted to, I grew up in Sweden, so I wanted to learn languages and to travel and to meet people from other cultures and kind of get out of it. Yes.
Yeah, I feel that.
Yeah.
But what was your relation to sex then? As like Sweden is a little bit of a sex negative.
Well, I guess it depends on who you talk to and how you see it, because saying that Sweden is sex negative is right and wrong at the same time, I think. I mean, most people outside in the world think that Sweden is a very sex positive country. And
where does that come from?
At films? Films, definitely.
Yeah, like in the
Ingmar Bergman. You know, all this kind of, and also Swedish women traveling early on, especially if you go down to the Mediterranean, Italy, Spain, etc. They have a vision of the Swedish sex liberal women coming down, being, you know, topless at the beach and being kind of beautiful and naked and out there. And then we also have the fact, obviously, that Sweden was the first country in the world who made sex education mandatory in schools already, I think, in 52, if I'm not wrong with the year. So those things, I think, make people really think that Sweden is this kind of sex positive country. But I think about Sweden many times as in Fanny and Alexander, famous Swedish television series and film. It has different cats, actually. But that film, I think, represent both sides of Sweden, the kind of, you know, very strict Calvinist, Lutheran kind of Swedish strictness, and then this theater family that was kind of wild and open and drinking and having sex, etc.
Yeah.
So you have both sides there, and I think they both exist. But I guess that when you say that Sweden is sex negative, you are thinking about how they relate to pornography and sex work. And that is true, that in Sweden, they have a hard time to understand how kind of pornography can be good for you, how it can have other values than negative misogynistic values. I think that most people who are working in the adult industry, we know that it obviously can have great values. That porn is media, and that you can create the kind of porn you want to, but depending on who you are and your visions, right?
Yeah. And when did you realize that? Or like, you know, okay, first though, did you feel that you were limited within your own sexuality as a teenager, or did you feel free?
No, I actually felt pretty free. I think I had good luck. The schools where I went, we had sexologists coming into our schools, talking to us. We had access to clinics with gynecologists and psychologists, and we had support from the system. I did feel that in my family, for example, we didn't speak much about sex. So that was a bit of taboo and a limit, but the school system definitely opened up to me and helped me to kind of shape who I am today, I think. And I always felt interested in sex and erotism. I remember being a kid reading, you know, my grandma's magazines at her little summer house in the archipelago, and kind of reading all these erotic novels and stuff, and being quite fascinated with powerful kind of sexual female characters. Even, you know, when you go back and look at what's the name of it again? The Selma Lagerlöfs Kejsaren I Portugalien. Aha, you remember these references? That the daughter was a prostitute, you know, a sex worker, and the father didn't want to recognize it, and he was very kind of impacted by this situation and got a bit crazy.
So you read it and that made you think.
But I always thought about her as, you know,
strong,
powerful, strong, independent woman somehow.
Yeah, for sure.
I didn't really see the drama in, you know, people wanting to get into sex work.
Yeah. No, for sure. But then you were you left Sweden, as you said, also to get out, and you went to Spain.
Well, I did travel a bit before I came to Spain. Actually, I did summer summer school in England. I did summer camp in the States. I did a year with a scholarship in France, and then I ended up in Spain. I think when I was 20, the summer of '97. And since then, I totally kind of fell in love with the country, and then especially with the city of Barcelona, where I ended up. And I really felt that was the place where I could kind of be myself, or become who I wanted to be, or feel free somehow.
Yeah. But you were working in marketing first?
I've been working in a few different things. I was working in the audiovisual sector, like being, at the beginning I started as a runner for different production companies, mostly doing advertisements and some film productions, some action films. And then little by little I advanced, and I worked as a production assistant, production manager, location manager, producer. I signed myself up to film school. I learned how to make film. And in 2004, I got an opportunity to make a short film. And that was the time when I kind of, sat down, wanted to write the script, came up with this idea of a short film called The Good Girl. That became, my first erotic film. And for me, when I started to think about it, it wasn't 100% clear what I wanted to do with this film. I just knew back then that I wanted to do something around female sexuality, because I thought that was a very powerful subject that I was interested in and intrigued by. And then little by little, it turned out to be, kind of a pornographic, explicit film, but with my values, with my point of view, etc.
All right. How was that received?
Very, very well, actually. I mean,
at home too?
That's another story. But like around, my circle, my friends, etc., everybody was like, "Wow, this is cool. This is great, Erika. So wonderful." And I sent it to some film festivals, and it won awards. And that's kind of how it's, things started to move. I started my own blog online, erikalust.com. I started to write about feminism and cinema and pornography and sexuality. And I uploaded a film, and in, just a short amount of time, it had received like 2 million downloads, and people were writing to me, and everybody was saying, "Hey, when are you going to make more?"
And this was for free. This was like a marketing portal.
Yes, it was, the time of the blogs online where people were sharing their opinions, etc. But it was for free. It was downloadable.
How did you reach out then with it?
Well, it kind of became viral somehow.
And people wrote about it, I guess.
I guess back then there was not that much content online. There was no free online porn.
No, it was DVD time.
It was DVD time, and porn was something that people did pay for. Porn, people subscribed to sites where they could watch pictures or short videos in kind of not that good quality as we have today, right?
Yeah.
And at the beginning, when I started my company, what we were doing was basically shipping DVDs. I was selling DVDs to erotic boutiques and stores. And I was, at the post office every day with my car and with the boxes and shipping,
it's like
6,000 DVDs to Canada, 3,000 DVDs to Norway.
3,000.
Yeah, it was big amounts.
That's crazy. Yeah. I was like, it was like me with the print magazine, but not that amount, unfortunately. But oh my God, that's amazing. But I mean,
I've been around for a while, it's like it's next year I will celebrate 20 years in this world of adult entertainment. So
wow,
it's pretty exciting.
But there are so many things that you had to like encounter. You say that? Encounter?
Yeah, kind of find on my way.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. But it's because now it's much easier to get the information about what it is to work in this industry, that it can be difficult and people help you. Internet is such a helpful tool, but you had to be a pioneer in that for yourself, right?
Well, I had to figure out not only what kind of films I wanted to do with what kind of values and how to actually, work the whole kind of production process, etc. And the vision, I had to figure out those things, but I also had to figure out how to make a company out of this. And to be honest, that has definitely been the hardest thing. Because for me, making the films, etc., that's what I love doing. Yeah. That is the pleasure. That is when I'm super happy and, I kind of come up with ideas and I write scripts and we discuss it and we think about who are we going to cast and we contact people and I find locations and I talk to my whole, my team and we make mood boards of the art and of the wardrobe and of the makeup and of all the kind of components and all of that is fantastic, being on set and working with cameras and figure out kind of how we're going to frame it and how we're going to film it and what kind of shots are we going to do. And that is what I love with this job. I love making films. Yeah. And I love telling these stories about sex, about relationships, about how we relate to each other, about how we find pleasure, how we enjoy ourselves. I love the potential of adult filmmaking in exploring our sexualities, because I think that especially as women, we haven't really had the opportunity to do that much. We haven't had, if we look at a historical perspective, I mean, it's really kind of 5 minutes we had the right to our own sexuality. Yeah. Before everything was about, reproduction and families and kind of pleasing men. So it's still pretty new, I think, in general, for women to feel empowered and to kind of look inside ourselves. What do we want? What do we wish for? What do we desire? What are our fantasies? And how do we portray them on screen, right? Because I think that it's always a challenge, because I am, even if I am kind of a feminist since many years back, I'm pretty aware about the power structures and the gender roles and kind of how we represent people on screen, etc. I'm still a product of the society I have been brought up in. Exactly. That has changed a lot during my lifetime. I'm 46 now, so it has definitely changed, but I still sometimes have to kind of challenge myself with what I desire myself. Yeah, for sure. And to think, and when I create a story and I create a script, I try to do a little game. I kind of sit down and then I look at the roles I have pictured, and I go, would something change if this character, instead of being a woman, would be a man, and this character would be would the story really change? Or what would happen if both of them would be women, or both of them men? Or how would that affect, the
Did you do that from early on? Okay, fun. But was there ever a time when you felt like, this is too much, maybe I'm just gonna quit?
Yes. Yeah, I think there definitely has been time, but when you say too much, it's definitely, there have been moments where I felt, oh, it's so hard. Yeah. Like when you lose an Instagram account that you've been working on for so many years, you just go, the world. What is happening? Why do we have to be so censored? What am I? Why am I so dangerous to this cis, hetero, white tech guys out there? Why are they so afraid of my opinions and what I have to say? And I think that is something that we feel, everybody who's working, in this community with something sex related, whether it's sex educators, sex performers, sex workers, creators, porn producers, all of us we feel that we are targeted, that we are being deplatformed, that we are being shadow banned, that we are being censored, that we are being, taken our accounts away. And it is very, very hard to reach people, because the idea here with the company and with my films, etc., it's to spread sex positive culture. In the end, that is the idea, and it feels like there's so many people out there who just want to cut that off because they benefit from the structure that we have today. They benefit from somehow, sex being
controlled.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, no, for sure. We were speaking about something I found very interesting yesterday. And you said that you probably wouldn't have been able to have that huge success that you have today without your husband. And
with my partner and husband, Pablo. Yes, because I think that he was a person that early on, when I had made my first short film, etc., who saw the opportunity to make something more out of it, and who pushed me to deliver, to give, to stop working on on a script being perfect, or on an idea being all covered from all angles. Is something wrong with this? Can someone criticize me? Because I think that early on I was today I'm not as afraid, but early on I was very afraid of being criticized, and I felt very criticized.
Obviously.
I have had people during my career who have said that I am anything, that I'm a fake feminist too, that I'm a feminazi. So it goes all over, right? And it depends on where they come from, etc. And I definitely had many, many men in the adult industry in the beginning who attacked me a bit, and really wanted to corner me, and said that what you are doing is not special at all. It's the women around me, they really like the way we are portraying sex. They don't need another alternative. We are already covering everything. You crazy feminist, why don't you go back to Sweden and milk some cows? I had that of attacks on me. I had also, obviously, feminists, abolitionists, still today, coming, on me, saying that how can I
let people, I was we were saying it yesterday, let people being raped on camera. I don't know, this is people have all these ideas about what's going on. But it was also interesting because as a woman, all these men who are scared that you will take their place, that you mentioned that Pablo could be a man who could be create trust for them. So they wouldn't trust you and what you said, or listen to what you said. But if he said the exact same word, then they could hear it somehow.
But I think that for me, what also happened with Pablo early on was that his father was, an entrepreneur. He came from that of ambient where he was confident in himself to dare to make business, to dare to create a structure that, because making a business, being an entrepreneur, is a huge risk. And I think that I was pretty afraid of that risk, not only of the people criticizing, but of the risk of actually, putting my money at risk, because it is, and the business that we have grown, we have done in a very organic way. We have put our own money into a first film, then we have sold that film. That film has given us money back, and then we have continued investing in more films and hiring some people, and growing little by little, year by year, the company. And then there has also been all these moments on the way where we kind of had to think of how to evolve from selling DVDs to making an online cinema. And I thought that all of these moments on the way were very risky and a bit kind of strange to me, because I'm not a tech person. I don't know how to make an online cinema. I don't really know how to talk to all these tech guys, because they're basically guys. And I think that there I have had a huge support in having, Pablo by my side, who had kind of had a little more interest in technology and knowing a bit more how to negotiate with these people, etc. And to, have this conversation. But the same happened when I started out as a filmmaker. When you start out as a filmmaker, you don't know how to direct a whole crew, how to direct actors. You don't know how to film with a camera. You don't know how to edit a film. No. You don't know all of these things. This is something you will learn on the way. And I think that this is a barrier for many women who, are afraid of kind of getting into things they don't control 100%. And you can't control it in the beginning. Now, 20 years after, I know these things because I've been working in this, and I made many, many mistakes on the way. And I learned from every of those mistakes. And I think it's so important that we understand that it's not about doing everything right and being perfect and have a clear vision, that these things you will get there if you start. If you don't start, you will just sit on your sofa in your home watching, Netflix or other people's films, etc. But you're never going to get there. So you have to let go of the fear of failing and
confront it all the time.
Confront it, learn how to live with it, learn how to take in it, learn how to kind of move forward, and accepting that you are just human. You're never going to be perfect. Let it go.
Let it go. And it's interesting also, we spoke about the change that you have been going through over these 20 years. That's like first shipping DVDs and then internet. If we look to the future, AI is something people start to, or it's taking over and it's going in such a rapid pace. What's your view? Do you have this as a big topic within the Lust team?
Yeah, it's something that we have started to discuss, definitely, and that some people are more interested in it than the other. I sometimes feel like I'm a bit, not that much of a tech nerd to kind of really understand it and to get into it. I'm investigating at this moment if this means that I can make a film with more extras, that I don't really need to hire all the people, but I can put people in the films, etc. But we'll see where it goes. I honestly, I don't know 100% how this is going to evolve. And I'm, with new technologies, I made a VR film, for example, a few years ago, and I did it because I wanted to kind of get out of my comfort zone, try something new, see how I could make this technology work. But then I realized that it wasn't really for me, that it's, it was another way of kind of thinking, etc. But I didn't really get a turn on out of it. And I think that it's also very important to try to work with the components and the things that you feel kind of connected to.
Exactly. There's also this kind of, now I'm jumping to another topic that's related to it, what was called deep fakes.
Deepfakes.
I know what deepfakes is.
Yeah. What's your view on that? Like, first explaining what it is.
I mean, it's pretty horrible because what they do is that they can take any person's face and put it on another person's body, and then it can be a tool of abuse.
Yeah, and
it's something pretty serious.
It is really crazy, and that's only going to get easier and easier. So if you Google any person and plus porn, you can get that made directly, I guess.
No, it's a form of image-based abuse.
Yeah, for sure. But it's going to be maybe outwatered. You say that in English? Oh god. But you know, when the technology is getting so good, maybe people are gonna be like, well, everything, maybe nothing is really real.
Yeah. I mean, for me, if we're talking about, you know, erotic filmmaking, explicit filmmaking, etc., what I'm interested in and what I want out of it is really reaching the point of feeling the intimacy. You know, I always used to say that I want to feel what it feels like having sex when I'm looking at a movie. I want to be with the characters. I want to understand them. I want to understand why are they into each other? What drives them? What are their attraction? I want to kind of be on their erotic journey with them somehow. And for me, when I, you know, watch kind of lots of mainstream porn, I'm not as attracted to it because it's just body parts jumping around on a sofa.
Yeah.
And for me as a person, I want the connection. That is what really, really turns me on.
Yeah, the small details, right? Yeah.
It's, you know, I need to understand what's happening in their eyes. I want that.
Yeah.
I want to kind of, I want to feel how the hairs on the arms kind of stand up. I want to see the reddish kind of, you know, breast. I want to hear.
This is so obvious when watching your films. There are so many details. Like there could be a drip of sweat, you know, and it's just like the camera is like letting that just drip until it next scene. Yeah, it's really, I love that.
Thank you.
Very, very nice. All right. Yes.
We have now come to the part of the podcast where if you are or want to become a Patreon, you'll get to hear the juicy stuff about Erika's biggest learnings when starting her journey and building Erika Lust, and how you can think if starting your own company is something you're curious to do. We also speak about what you need to think about before getting in front of the camera, and the important questions she always asks new performers, as well as giving us some pro sex advice. Go to patreon.com/playfulmagazine.
What would you say makes a good porn film? We're on to that topic, but besides the details, what are some things that you're like, it should include, or like for you to be like?
But it's a difficult question because of what makes a good porn film. It also depends for people. I mean, there are people who really want so many different things. For me, as a creator and a viewer, what I'm interested in is kind of this intimacy that we're talking about.
Yeah.
I am interested in the kind of the aesthetics of it, the artistic values of it. I'm interested in the cinematography. Because all of these things for me are tools to kind of enlighten my sensitivity and awaken kind of my eroticism somehow. And that is what really works for me, you know, but then, you talk to other people and they want pure amateur things, for example. They are not interested in the high cinematography or in the perfect framing or in, maybe all of these details, because they just want to feel that these two people are real and that they are into each other and that they have chemistry and that's it. Or they want high impact images, and they want many of them, and they want rhythm and they want roughness and they want, it can,
or
kind
specific
of all,
kinks or
specific things, etc. But what I think, what we can agree on in all of that is that if we would talk about good porn, that would be, that it's made correctly, that it's made with working conditions where everybody has been, aware of what's going to happen. They have been talked to, they have agreed, the paperwork has been done, the STI testings has been done. People feel that they are in charge of their sexuality. They have their agency. They are being portrayed in a way that corresponds to what they feel, because this is what we see in lots of the free porn on the internet, right? We see that people are being fetishized for their body types or their age groups or their color of their skin, or
without making that decision themselves.
Yeah. Exactly. So many times when I'm talking to journalists, etc., and they are pushing a lot the idea of ethical porn, and they ask kind of what is it, and I always say it's about the working conditions, really. It's about how you make the film, etc. But then the ethical aspect goes all along the way of a production. It's not only how you produce it, it's not only the responsibility by the production companies and directors and etc. It's also the distribution and the marketing. Yeah. So sometimes in some adult companies, the production process has been superb. Everything has been taken care of. Everybody was happy. Performers were paid fair wages, etc. Everything was fine. But then it gets into marketing, and then somehow they get labeled in a way that they wouldn't agree with.
Ah, shit.
There is where you have, slutty Latina and tiny Asian and big black cock and all of these kind of abbreviations that reduces people, that takes out their humanity and makes them, exoticized kind of things for your satisfaction. But it's not about, really about them and how they feel, etc. So I think that is something we don't talk enough about.
Yeah.
And then you have the end station here that is from the consumers.
Yeah.
If you want to be ethical, pay for your porn.
Pay for your porn.
That's the way you do it. That's how you can assure that what you are watching has been done correctly. Check if, when you watch porn online, check if there's an about page. Can you learn anything about that company, about that director, about, the performers? Can you watch a making of? Can you watch an interview? Can you get information on the process of this company, on their values, etc.? Do you agree with those values? Yeah. That's when you know if this is, a page or a company or a streaming service or whatever it is.
And if you resonate with it.
Do you?
Yeah, exactly.
Ask yourself that question. I mean, I think that's the easiest way of doing it. And when you see, if you are one of these people who goes to the free porn online and you see taglines that you don't agree with, for example, tiny teen is getting destroyed, which is pretty, this is the way that it's done. Then, don't watch it.
No, exactly.
Don't watch it. Don't go there. Complain about it.
Yeah.
Show that you don't support that kind of porn.
Yeah.
And I think that this is, what we need to do, all of us, is becoming more responsible consumers. And I think that many of us are already doing it in other areas of our lives.
Yeah.
If you go to the supermarket, I don't know exactly your diet and what you eat, etc.
Or like,
but kilometro zero, you know, kind of. And I'm plant-based myself, etc. I'm trying to be aware. Where does the food come from? Who has produced this? Kind of. There are values there that you want to, work with. The same with fashion or, furnitures, etc.
For sure.
Just give it a think. What are you consuming? What is the kind of the consequences in the world of what you are consuming?
Yeah, so important. All right, last question.
Yeah.
If we look at the future for you now, what is there anything you could reveal that you are like working on or that is coming up?
Well, I'm working on quite many things.
Obviously.
I always do, multitasker. But I've just shot a couple of films this autumn that are gonna come out.
Long ones
soon?
Like
no, they're not long ones. They're films for this project I have called Ex-Confessions. Ex-Confessions is, where people are sending in their anonymous confessions, their fantasies, their desires, things they have done, things they want to do. And then I make, together with my team of filmmakers, we make short films kind of these confessions. Ex-Confessions, I think, is a beautiful community of creators, not only filmmakers, but also all the performers who are working with us, the photographers, artists who are also kind of, letting us use their imagery to illustrate the confessions. And I think we have over 300 short films already. It's been going on for 10 years now. So it's a pretty solid project that I'm very proud of. And we just shot a bunch of very exciting films coming up. So I'm working on that. I'm working on a book for the Porn Conversation. The pornconversation.org is another project I have where we are helping parents and educators to kind of help them in how they can talk with young people about pornography, because we all know that porn has become sex education, whether we like it or not, or whether it's supposed to be.
It hasn't always been. It was magazines back.
Well, I mean, sex education, yes. I think that in all times, human beings have been interested in sex.
Yeah.
We lived in the caves and we were painting sex things on the walls in the caves. You look at the Romans, and you look at the Greeks, you look at, Shunga, Kama Sutra. I mean, it's all cultures, it's all over. Sex
We are obsessed with sex.
Yeah, we want to understand what's happening. It's giving us pleasure. It gives us something spectacular, right? So we want to understand it. Even the animals. Listen,
frustrating.
So I think that's a reality. But then, of course, I mean, when I grew up, internet was not there, obviously. What did I do? I looked at magazines, of course. I looked at books at the library to find out stuff.
And your grandma's magazine?
My grandma's magazine. And then cable TV came around, right?
TV
late night and the video cassettes. My first experience with porn was at a pajama party, when I was 12 or 13. And, a girlfriend had found this video cassette that her father had in a secret drawer. And, she was putting it on. Like after the real movie came the porn movie. So I think we always used pornography, and I think porn can be a very great way of understanding yourself and your sexuality. You can learn a lot about it,
but you want to change it somehow.
No, what I really want, because now we live in these times where porn is very accessible for lots of young people, and nobody really talks to them about the values in lots of that porn that is accessible to them. And I want them to be able to be, media literate. I want them to have porn literacy, to understand what porn is, that porn is an exaggerated fiction of sex. That, as same as happening in movies, we have all these superhero movies where Superman can fly and Spider-Man, is climbing on buildings, and, they know that is not real, that is fiction. But what is happening with many young people today is that they don't realize that so much of the porn that's out there on the internet, that it's also fiction.
No,
it's not just a portrait of kind of real sexuality, how people are. Most of it is framed for male viewers. It's centered around male sexuality. It's, women are used as tools to make
Don't try to do that in real life.
or, do it, but be aware of
but like,
what it
imagine
is.
if you're like, the first time you're gonna, you're a straight guy, first time you're gonna seduce a woman, and you're like, I know exactly what to do. It's gonna go so wrong, probably.
No, and that is happening. That is happening every day. I hear lots of stories from fans and people who are writing to me about their kind of relationship to sex and to porn and how it has affected them. And I think that if we just really can get in there, because it's not about censoring porn, it's not about prohibiting it, it's not about porn being entirely bad and we shouldn't watch it, etc. No, it's about understanding it, understand the good and the bad, understanding how can we use it in a healthy way that works for us.
No, for sure. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
I loved having you here. It was a big pleasure for us. We do have the extra material left.
What is that?
That is only for Patreons. So it's going to be no videos.
Pay for your podcast.
But exactly. Pay for your podcast part. No, but this is a little bit more. Yay! Thank you so much.
How many coffees did you have?
Just one. I only have one.
This was it for Playful Podcast this week, but please follow, subscribe, and listen to our next episode. And if you want to have a say about future artists, or even ask your own question to one of our guests, follow us on Instagram and make sure to add your question when we lift our coming guests. Thank you so much for joining, and see you next week.